Good morning. Good morning. As promised, it's Friday, and I feel better. I feel good. It's one of those things you speak to your situation, and it happens right away, but you just gotta let the time float. I don't know if God did this on purpose or what, but what can I say? I spoke to my situation. I actually feel better. Um, had a good night's sleep last night. It just is what it is. I really feel the best I felt in about a week and a half. So thank you for the prayers. Thank you for my own prayers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I'm good. It's Friday, end of second week of December. Um, and we're almost to Christmas, right? Hopefully you got all your shopping done. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully you got all your shopping done. And please don't stress yourself out trying to buy stuff for people who can just, you don't have to. I'll put it that way. All right. I'm not a Grinch. I can be. I'm not a Grinch, but I really don't believe in, Xing yourself out and trying to go out of your way for others. You don't have to. If they really love you, then you really don't have to do that. Anywho, that was my segue. But other than that, if you do have it, go ahead and buy it, and just put something in my stocking while you're at it. Amen. Good morning. Good morning. Without further ado, this is Calvary Hawthorne's devotional channel. I am your host, Brother Jay, as always, sitting in for our Dr. Pastor Hosea Collins as he continues to get better in his own right. And so a lot of times I just take what he preaches and then I just put a little message together for us, and then we just break it down, right? So this week we've been talking about accepting the word, and so the initial start of the series was on the word, and the word being its own little dynamic, its own little concept. And so this week we're talking about accepting the word, and as we walk to Jesus and starting with his birth, we knew that it started with Angel Gabriel coming down to Mary and trying to tell Mary, you're about to get pregnant, even though you haven't done the things to get pregnant. And so Mary, obviously being mind boggled, like, yo, how is this possible? It's not possible. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know who you are. Like, just ramming off everything at the mouth, just in a sense of it's not going to happen. And it won't happen. It wasn't going to happen if she didn't accept it. And so I think that's why it was so important. This is the most important part of the story, because in order for Jesus to happen, there has to be belief. In order for things to happen, there has to be belief. And so Gabriel had to basically, and God uses his word to pregnate our situations, our words, our stories, our people, our family. Like, God uses his words to make things happen. And so this is no different. I always say, if you ever wonder what God's going to do, just go look at the Bible, because he did it already. How did he do this situation? He spoke to it. And so in a situation where he's speaking to Mary, she has to accept it. She has to accept it. And if she doesn't accept it, then it's one of those things that this story does not happen. I really need people to understand, like, this story does not happen if she doesn't accept it. So it took a moment, but at the end of the day, she accepted it. She accepted it. And once she accepted it, that's when the process began. Now, Jesus didn't come out till obviously months later, but that's when the whole process began, right? She accepted the word, and that's what this week has been about. Monday, we talked about the centurion, a little quick review. Monday, we talked about the centurion and how he understood the word, and Jesus just had to speak. He didn't have to come in the house. He didn't have to do anything. Jesus speaks the word. By the time his servants get back to the house, the servant was healed. Tuesday, we talked about Peter on the water, and how he asked how we're accepting the word, and I heard the word, and I know what the word is, and I know that you say, I know it's God's telling it to me. He heard the word, and in hearing the word, he stepped out on faith. He knew it was God. He knew it was Jesus. Well, he didn't know initially. That's why he said, Jesus, but you bid me to come. So he didn't know. when he heard his voice and recognized his voice, he stepped out on the boat, and then he went. He got all the way out there, and as far out as he got, once he did start to doubt, Jesus was right there to help pick him up. So Jesus is going to be there. God's going to be there in our situations to help pick us up once we do step out on faith and we do make that walk, and we do, right? And then obviously I paint a picture of when he walks back, or how do they get back? You know, do they walk on water to go back? Do they wait on the boat? Does Jesus stand there holding Peter? You know, just those little different tidbits like that. So I would argue they probably walked back on water. That's what he wanted to do the whole time. I can't see Jesus denying him. Obviously he already went out all the way out there. Why not walk back? So, but that's me. That's Book of J. Don't go telling people, well, Peter walked on water. No, don't do that. Anywho, Wednesday we talked about the fig tree, speaking to your situation, and this is kind of where, you know, for me, I guess I was foreshadowing and forecasting, you know, in my state of not feeling well, right? In my state of being under the weather. I mean, I had to speak to it. I think I told you, I said, by Friday, I'm going to be good. You know, by Friday, I'm going to be okay. And sure enough, here we find ourselves on Friday. And I feel good. And it's just a small mirror package of life. This just is the area of under the weather. But when you speak to your situation, when you speak to your storm, when you speak to whatever it is that you're believing for, it could happen. It will happen, right? Like, this is just being unhealthy. This isn't the only area of my life that I speak in is when I feel sick and under the weather. No, I speak in, you know, sports, basketball, coaching, my job, different things like that, my family, my friends. Like, I speak all over in every situation I'm in, because I know at the end of the day, over time, it will work. It will happen. You know, so this isn't a surprise to me. Yes, I put God to the test. Tuesday's message, Lord, if that's you, bid me to come. He's putting Jesus to the test. Let me walk on water with you. If that's you, if you, no, I mean, he wasn't necessarily asking like, if that's you, God, really let me do it. It was just like, no, if that's you, let me come out there because I know what you can do. So let me do it. Right. And for me, I think, you know, it was like putting him back to the test in a sense. Like, Lord, like, I know I'm going to be healed on Friday. I know I'm going to be feeling fine on Friday where I can go about my day and not be, you know, stuck in the bed, not go to work and stuff like that. I'm going to be fine. And so that's what a lot of this process is. So everything I tell you, everything I'm teaching, everything I'm spreading, everything I'm giving you, it's stuff that, you know, I tend to follow myself. Right. And so that's important. And so yesterday, we spoke about the lady and the judge and trying to get her justice. And we talked about how she kept going back. I'm not going to take the judge's word. I know who I am. I know the word I got. I'm going to take my own word. And if my word don't match your word, guess whose word is changing? Not me. It's going to be you that's changing. So when your situation don't look like it's supposed to look, keep talking, keep going at it, keep spending time, keep doing what you need to do, and change your situation with your words, your actions, your thoughts, and your beliefs. That's what she did. Said this man wasn't even godly. Said this man wasn't holy. This man didn't respect God, didn't fear man. And yet, through her actions of principled actions that God has in place of just prayer, belief, and consistency in a sense, right? She was able to change his mind. She was able to change her situation. And we're no different. You know, if you know you got a word, if you know that's what it is, you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pressing. Don't worry about what the world is going to tell you, because the world's going to give you their word. And the moment you start living the moment you start accepting the wrong word and accepting their word is the moment that your life is going to look like what people are telling you it should look like. That's it. Right. So, you know, I implore you to hold on to your word and change your situation with your word. You know, accept the word. These are different facets of the word, different facets of how the word operates, different facets in how we see the word, how it's broken down, and how we're supposed to, you know, maneuver with the word, you know, and I think that's very important. Right. So today, I know, right? Today we're going to talk about spending time with the word, right? Like how do I know what the word says if I don't spend time? How can I just know that this is it and be fine and believe if I don't spend time, if I don't understand it, if I don't have it in me to understand? And so how do I keep holding on to it as the world tells me it's something different? You know, if I don't know the word, then I'm not gonna, like, I might be able to budget one or two times, but if the world keeps coming back and back and back and back, one of them times I'm gonna break. I'm gonna break. A righteous man falls 7 times. He's not gonna get back up. He's gonna end up turning wicked because he can't get back up because the world just beat him down and he took on what the world was saying. He just took on what the world was saying. So today we're going to read the story about the man whose daughter was sick. And I'm just going to kind of paraphrase. It's Mark 5. It's 21 to 43. I'm not going to read it all. Honestly, I'm just going to read a little bit, but I'm going to paraphrase most of it. And in verse 21, it says, and when Jesus crossed again in the boat to the other side, a great crowd gathered about him, and he was beside the sea. Then came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by his name. Seeing him, he fell to his feet and implored to him earnestly, saying, my little daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her so that she may be made well and live. And Jesus went with him. And then I'm paraphrasing the sense of the next sections between 25 and 34. 25 and 34 is when Jesus healed the woman with the issue of blood. She had been having the issue of blood. She had been having the issue of blood for 12 years. And so, she showed great faith because of her own story. But that's not what we're necessarily focusing on, even though that was a word in itself that we can apply that she was holding on to. Now, honestly, that's not even what I was going to talk about. But as I see and think and just kind of start thinking about that story, she was holding on to, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed. She's speaking to her situation, believing it. And then she acted on it. And then that's how she got the results she got. But that's, again, not the point I'm a focus on, but that's what was happening. Jairus, his daughter was dying in another city. And he knew his daughter was dying and his daughter was about to die. So he went to Jesus. He went and found Jesus. He pled with him earnestly. And then after doing that, after doing that, then Jesus was going with him. So they healed, this woman, the woman with the issue of blood happened on the way to go and heal his daughter. So pause. Like, we all got good hearts and we all believe and we all want people healed and we all want to see people get blessed and we all want that, right? Put yourself in this man's shoes. Your family member is going through something crazy to the point of death. And you got Jesus to say, yeah, I'll come with you. That was the hardest part, in my opinion. With all these thousands of people lined up to meet Jesus, talk to Jesus, get something from Jesus, I was the one that got Jesus to say yes to me and get him to come. I don't think we really understand the magnitude of like a rock star, right? And thinking about crowds, and not to compare Jesus to a rock star, but just to kind of make a point. If you think about all those concerts and the crowds of people, imagine one person, the person on stage, one person, picking one person out that crowd, and it's you. He picked the rock star. The rock star picked him. Jesus picked him. All right, yeah, I'll come with you. Then he had to go to another city. And on their walk, they meet somebody who needs a blessing. Like, I know for me, it's one of those like, all right, yeah, can we make this quick? All right, yeah, no, that'd be dope. Like, okay, cool. Like, how holy are you? your family member is sick to the point of death, and I got somebody over here who is holding up my time. And I know time is of the essence. You know what I mean? And so Jesus was taking his time. And he took his time, felt it, had a conversation. Like it was paused long enough to we pick up in verse 35. It says, while he was still speaking in this situation to the woman with the issue of blood, while he was still speaking, there came from the ruler's house, from Jairus' house, someone who said, your daughter is dead. Don't trouble Jesus any further. But Jesus, overhearing what he said, Jesus said to the ruler, do not fear, only believe. And he allowed no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. So it happened. On the way, Jesus was helping somebody else, blessing somebody else. Somebody else's situation was taken care of that you knew about. They're telling you their story, and you're still sitting in your situation like, man, when's my time going to come? Man, I know Jesus said, I know God said he was going to take care of me, but man, I'm over here like I'm better than them. That shouldn't have happened. I mean, God bless you, bless you, sister, bless you, brother. But man, what about me? You know, now I'm sitting in my own situation praying. And then once like they're done telling their story, and once that their situation is over, and once that happens, I'm sitting back like getting news like, hey, bro, you're evicted. Hey, bro, you're fired. Hey, bro, you still don't have this job. Oh, hey, thank you for applying, but we decided to go another route. It's tough. It's tough, you know. And while he was still speaking to that woman, the guy ran up and said, hey, man, you know what? Don't even worry. Jesus don't even worry about it. His daughter's dead. And Jesus said, nope, don't believe. Your daughter's not dead. I mean, he said, your daughter's not dead. Don't believe what this man's saying. And then watch this. This is what I want to get to. The only people that went with him, right, out of the crowd of the people that were probably going with him, because now it seems like there were more people that were going with him, and then he cut it off. He just said, and he allowed no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. So when you're trying to accept a word, you gotta spend time with God, number one. And then number two, you gotta make sure your circle is the right circle. God, Jesus was like, you know what? Because he was to the point of death and he used death, I gotta get everybody out who's not gonna see it my way. I gotta get everybody out, because if you start to sit on believing what the world is telling you, if you hold on to that, she's gonna stay dead. And me, even being Jesus, I can't raise this woman because you don't even believe she's gonna get raised. And Jesus, knowing that, had to push him out. And so then my mind starts thinking, because it really doesn't say, obviously, right? But now on this walk, because they still had the journey, right? Like my mind in these moments of that are unsaid, in my mind of these pockets of things that are not really written down, but just common sense things to me, like Peter, how'd they get back on the boat? So I'll give you another one on this one. It's like, what were they talking about on the walk? How long was the walk? How long was that journey? Just imagine this, him, Peter, John, and James. Like, it's just them on a walk to this house. And I can just imagine what Jesus is feeding him. I can just imagine what Peter and John, like, I can just imagine what this conversation is on the way to the house. Because this dude still, I mean, come on, this is us. Jesus said, don't worry, she's just sleeping. We still gonna worry in our heart of hearts, like, gee, man, like, I know who you are, Lord, but come on now. So on this walk, was Jesus being comforting? On this walk, was Jesus doubling down and telling him, look, he's not related to his daughter, to the point where he didn't even think about his daughter, because he already knew she was healed. So on this walk, he's gonna talk about, hey man, how was the trip? Where you going next? how's everything going? Oh man, I heard about you, bro. Like, how you doing? Like, oh, that's cool. Everything you guys are doing is great, man. I love you. I love, like, are they talking about something different, or are they really talking about the situation? You know, and obviously we don't know, but I would argue that, you know, it might be that. Like, I don't think he allowed him to worry, because then that still means there's a little doubt, which if there's a little doubt, it's going to be hard for Jesus to move. So he got rid of everybody. He controlled the situation. He controlled his atmosphere. He controlled himself. And he said, all right, only us are walking. So think about it. Somebody had to run to Jesus and tell him, hey, don't even bother Jesus no more. Your daughter dead. That dude had to go back. He ran from the house. He got to go back. But guess what? He's not coming back with me. He's not coming back in our group. He's not coming back he's not coming back with us. You can go back with them, but you're not coming back with us, because our word is something different. We believe it's something different over here. Amen. And so as we move forward to, you know, as we scroll down to verse 38, they came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue. Jesus saw a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. And when he entered, he said to them, why are you guys making commotion? Why are you guys weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping. And they laughed at him. But he put them all outside, took the child's father and mother who were with him, and when they went in there with the child, taking her by the hand, he said to her, little girl, I say to you, arise. And immediately the girl got up and began to walk. So here we find it again. Show atmosphere. Jesus walks in that house, sees everybody crying, which is fine, because they don't have the same belief. They don't know. Like, we're in the natural. We're operating in life. If somebody died, if something happened right now, we gonna have a reaction to it, and that's fine. But when God shows up, when Jesus shows up, and he gives me a word, oh man, whatever just happened, whatever I'm thinking goes out the window. All right, Lord, thank you. I'm with you. If anybody would have just said, you right, Jesus, they could have stayed in that house too. Nobody did. So what? He had to kick them all out again. So it's just, that's the way it is. You know, you gotta kick people out of your life. You gotta kick people out of there. You gotta kick people who ain't saying the same word. You just have to. You know, Jesus had to kick all these people out. If somebody really believed it, they would have stayed. So that's all I got for you guys. Kick people out of your life who ain't there. Accept the word. It's been a great week. I love you. I love you. I love you. Speak to your situation and let me be a shining example of when you use the word, it works. Amen. Amen.